In this video, we're going to look at ER and IR verbs. You know that Spanish has verbs in three flavors, ones that end in AR, ones that end in ER, and ones that end in IR. In order to see this video, we actually need to know two other videos before this. If you're not familiar with how subjects work in subject pronouns in Spanish, you need to see the subject pronoun video before you watch this one. And also you need to see the film on AR verbs, which will also explain the basics of verbs in Spanish. After you've seen those two verbs, this would be the this would be the video for you to see. This discusses how to manage ER and IR verbs in Spanish. You remember the endings for the AR verbs in Spanish. That is, it's O for yo, as for tú, a for él, ella, and usted, amos for nosotros or nosotros, ais, which you don't have to know, for vosotros and vosotras, because that's only used in Spain. And then an is the ending for AR verbs for ustedes, ellos, and ellas. You will remember that it goes along with this six-place chart here, the subject pronouns, that is, I is yo, you is tú, or the more formal one, usted, he is él, she is ella. We have two words, nosotros and nosotras, y'all, that you don't have to know, because that's only used in Spain, vosotros and vosotras. Ustedes, you all, that's used in this hemisphere. Ellos and ellas are the two words for they. Notice there are 6 positions in this chart, and the AR verbs go right along with it. So, for example, caminar in Spanish is the word to walk, one of 2 words. And so if I am doing the walking, I'll want to use the word yo. And so what I'll do is I'll add on the yo, and then I'll have to take off the AR ending of caminar. And then I'll put on the ending that goes with yo, which is an O. Yo camino. I walk. And that's how those verbs work. You take off the ending and you put on those endings. The endings here that we see are the endings we use for our AR verbs. Here are some of the AR verbs that are new for what we're looking at. Andar, to walk. Caminar also means to walk. Buscar, to look for. Dejar, to leave. Doblar is to fold in half, or it could also mean turn, a corner, if you're driving a car. Voltear would also mean to turn a corner if you're driving a car, or it could mean for a piece of paper to turn it over. Llevar is to take. Llegar is to arrive. Quedar is to stay. Regresar is to return, like I'm returning home. Salvar is to save. And solicitar is to apply to or solicit, or apply for something. All of these will use those AR endings that you see up there. You take off the AR and put on the one that corresponds to the subject that you want to use. But there are also ER verbs in Spanish. The new ones that we're looking at is deber, should or must, suceder, to happen or to occur, and ver is to see. Notice these verbs don't end in AR, they end in ER, and therefore their endings are a little bit different. Do you see a pattern here? They're exactly the same as the AR chart, except where there is an A in the AR chart, it changes to E in the ER chart. So if I want to say I should do something, it's yo debo. I take off the ER and add an O on the end. I should. Yo debo. Or we should. Nosotros debemos. I take off the ER and put on the amos ending. Or if actually it's they should, it's ellos deben. take off the ER, and put the EN ending on. We're also looking at a couple of IR verbs, exigir, to demand or to insist, and vivir, to live. These are IR verbs. Let's take a look at their endings. You will notice that they're exactly the same as the ER endings. There's no difference, except for the nosotros and the vosotros form up on the upper right. Imos instead of amos, is instead of eis. And of course, you'll probably never have to use the vosotros form unless you're close friends with a group of people from Spain. You won't necessarily use those forms at all. So these are the endings that we will use. And like with the others, with exigir, for example, if I'm saying he is demanding, I'll take off that IR and put that E on, and it will be él exige. Okay, let's take some time to see if you understand how these work. Take a look at these sentences right here, and notice that I put the verbs in there, and see if you can conjugate the verbs, each one of these. Take off the AR, ER, or IR ending, and put in the proper ending for each of these. Stop the video now and do that on a piece of paper, and then we'll look at them together in just a minute. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at our first sentence here. Tu caminar a la estación de policía. The first thing I need to do is take off the AR. And then I put the ending on that goes with tu, which is AS. Tu caminas a la estación de policía. You are walking to the police station, or you walk to the police station. Number 2, el deber llenar el formulario. What we want to say is he should fill out the form. First thing I do is take off the ER, and then put on the ending for he, which is an E. Él debe llenar el formulario. He should fill out the form. For our next one, number 3, los estudiantes, we'll use the ending for they because there is a group of students there, and they are demanding to talk to the lieutenant. First of all, I take off my IR ending, and then put the ending on for they, or los estudiantes, which is in the end. Los estudiantes exigen hablar con el teniente. The students demand to speak with the lieutenant. Number 4, yo llegar a la casa a las 6 de la tarde. We take off that AR ending and put on the O that goes with the O. Yo llego a la casa a las 6 de la tarde. I arrive at home at 6 in the afternoon. Que is our word for what in Spanish, and it will be using the form for he or she. So, que suceder en la calle, what's happening out in the street? First of all, I take off my ER ending. And then what I want to do is put on the ending for he or she that goes along with the word what, and that is an E. ¿Qué sucede en la calle? What's happening in the street? Okay, here are some more sentences. Number from 6 to 10 on your little piece of paper, and see if you can do these. Stop the video and we'll take a look at your answers in just a couple of minutes. Okay, welcome back. And we're going to start with the first one here. It's vivir, to live. And we want the form for L. So what we do is we take off the IR ending. And we put on the form that goes with he, which is an E, or E in Spanish. Él no vive aquí. He doesn't live here. Number 7, the detectives are looking for the thief. Okay, we take off the AR ending. And put the AN on there, which los detectives buscan el ladrón. The next one, then with nosotros, we should report the robbery. We take off that ER and then put the ending on. Nosotros debemos denunciar el robo. We should report the thief, robbery. The next one is a little weird. We take off that ER ending, and you would think I just put the O on for yo, but this is a little irregular. It has an EO on there. This verb is the only one that does it. Yo no veo bien. I don't see very well. And our last one is a little bit the same. We take off the IR ending, and I put an O on for yo, but I can't have it that way because instead of exigir, this says yo exigo. And it isn't exigo, it's exijo. So, to preserve that H sound, that I have to change the G to a J. This is exijo instead of exigo. They go by the sound there. This is another weird thing just with these two verbs. The veo and the exijo, the yo form, is a little bit different. Yo exijo hablar con el sargento. I insist or demand to talk to the sergeant. Well, this is our practice for these verbs. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.